On the Jacob Buehrer Show today, I'm so happy to have on Sage Halter,
Everyone.
who recently broke the school record, 14.3, if I'm correct.
14-3 for pole vault.
Awesome. And before we kind of get into the discussion, tell us a little fun fact about you. Maybe where you're going to college, what you like to do in your spare time.
I'm going to University of Tennessee next year for college. Can't wait. That's a little fun fact about me.
Awesome. Rocky Top, Tennessee. You'll enjoy singing that song after every touchdown. So you're a pole vaulter, and if I recall in middle school, you didn't do pole vault.
I did not have it.
So how did you get involved and pretty good at the sport from like freshman year's canceled with COVID? Sucks. How did you kind of get into it sophomore year and pretty good to where you're breaking the school record as a senior in the first couple meets?
So it's a funny story how I wanted to do it. So I was watching Indiana Jones, and there's this scene in Indiana Jones where Indiana Jones like has I think it's like a piece of bamboo, and he like pole vaults over a river. And I was like, that looks super cool. And so I kind of looked into that. I looked into like pole vaulting, and this is probably in middle, like seventh, eighth grade. And I was just like, I told my parents I want to do this. And then my dad found a pole vault camp, and it was just like a day camp, and it was at University of Indianapolis.
So this was not pole vault elite.
No, this is not pole vault elite. And it's probably in 3 hours, and it's just really basic stuff. And I did this freshman year, the winter of freshman year. So that
Interesting.
kind of gave me a head start.
So you were going to originally pole vault that freshman year before COVID hit.
I was planning.
Interesting.
I had trained to, but COVID.
And what was the training kind of like? Of course, you've had a person in our great shout out to Jack, who has also been a very good pole vaulter. What's it kind of been like though to learn, with maybe just only one other person? And because it's not unlike sprinting or long distance, there's not 50 pole vaulters at any school ever. So what's that training process kind of been like?
A lot of it at the beginning was you kind of like trained yourself, you watched videos, and I was, like you said, I was blessed to have Jack there because we're both like pretty decent at pole vault, so he was able to help me and I was able to help him, and we kind of bounced back and forth with each other, and that helped with the learning curve a lot. And and like I said, videos do a lot because it's hard to find a coach that like knows a lot about pole vault, because my sophomore year there wasn't. It was a swim coach, and he didn't know anything about pole vault, so we kind of had to do a lot on our own.
Was it tillage?
It was
Tillage.
yeah.
Interesting. I'm learning new things too. And then you of course got Chad Clark last year.
We have a lot better pole vault coach now. Chad Clark, he's the previous school record holder. He's my coach. He's a great guy, great coach.
Good guy, funny guy. I don't pole vault, but on the sideline and track, I've kind of had a couple interactions with him. So good guy. Do you have somebody who you look up to in pole vault? A teammate, a coach?
Honestly, I think Jack is someone I look up to a lot in pole vault, just because, he's very like precise when it comes to the movements of pole vault, and I think that's awesome because I need to get better at that. And Chad, of course, because like he teaches me everything he knows just to break his school record. So
interesting.
It's great.
Of course, you've had the chance to compete at a lot of different places. More than the average track runner with sectionals, regionals, state, semi-state, all that stuff. Do you have a favorite venue? You don't have to say New Palestine High School. It's okay.
I don't think where I think Pendleton Heights. I like their like pole vault setup and everything. And obviously University of Indianapolis has a great facility because it's indoor, it's in a dome. Conditions are always good. So yeah.
Interesting. And if you wouldn't mind kind of taking us through, what was it like the day you're competing, you at UND in a prior meet had qualified for indoor state? What was it kind of like going through? It's a nice place from what the photos showed at Indiana University.
Oh, yeah.
What was it kind of like that day going through, getting ready for the jump that you broke the record on, your highest?
So actually, I only had one meet to qualify for the state meet, the indoor state meet, and luckily I like jumped high enough to qualify. But that wasn't the school record. The next weekend was indoor state at IU's campus, and it's probably an hour and a half, hour 15 drive, and the whole way it was I think we left the school at 7:30 in the morning, and yeah, and so the whole way I'm kind of just like I'm tired, but I'm kind of trying to get like locked in. I'm stretching on the
Did you have
bus.
an energy drink, anything
I
like
didn't.
that?
I don't drink energy drinks before meets, only because everything in your like running when you're running down the runway, all the steps have to be right on. And if I feel like if I take an energy drink, I'll be too like
You'll take one too many
jittery.
steps,
Exactly, and
or
it's
one
like
too many less steps.
exactly, and that'll
That
mess
can
you
wreck
up.
everything.
Exactly. And so we get there, it's crowded. It's a nice indoor facility, but it's packed of like athletes. And I found a spot to put my poles, and I had my headphones on, getting locked in.
So they did allow headphones at
They
that
did.
meet.
I mean, they didn't, but they did. They didn't care that much. And so yeah.
They really don't care, FYI, for future kids coming up. I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
But try to follow the rules.
But usually, like before I jump, I'm like super talkative. Like a lot of people like to be quiet and like keep to themselves, but I'm like so talkative. Like
You
I
feel like
don't,
you're leading a church choir.
yeah, something like that. I don't know if it's just because I get nervous or something, and I like talking just kind of relieves that. But every time I'm getting ready, like if I'm third to jump, I'm just talking to people. I'm just like, yeah, meeting people, which is great. And like the whole pole vault community is great. Everyone's so nice to each other and supportive.
Really is. My thing was track when I originally had done it is I thought, oh, you know, people are gonna hate it at senior year. But so far, I mean, I had thought about quitting at one point, and it's kind of like, there's some pretty good people around,
I
and
think
some fun memories to be made. So
yeah,
good sport for people listening.
I think track is whether you're good at it, not good at it, average, and whatever. If you're a sprinter, field event person, or a distance runner, I feel like everyone's really supportive, just on the sideline, like cheering you on.
Couple other things. What was it like after you had then done the jump and you knew it was 14.3, I would assume, or over 14 for the record. What was that moment then like?
So it was great. So I cleared 14. 14 was the school record. I cleared that, and I would have that would have been a tie for the school record. And I felt great. I got over the bar perfect. It was one of my best jumps, and I think it was my first attempt at a three. And I felt like I was like going down the mat, and I knew I didn't touch the bar. And I was like, I like threw my hands up
You knew
like
you did
that
it.
because yeah, I was like falling, and I like threw my fist up because I was like, yes.
So I actually didn't know that. I thought that if you hit the bar, you were okay as long as the bar didn't fall. But you
Well,
can't hit the ball.
no, you can hit the bar as long as it doesn't fall. But like when I said I didn't hit the bar at all, it was just that
Oh,
means it was a great,
yeah.
jump because like I was way over it. And then 14.3 came, and like I knew if I wanted to have the school record, I'd have to jump 14.3, which I felt like I can do. And
Was 14.1, 14.2 not an
no,
option?
they usually do increments of three.
Three.
So when you get to those heights, and so 14.3 came up, and I failed my first attempt. Luckily I had two others, and my second attempt like one of my best jumps I've ever had, and I soared over the bar and I didn't touch the bar, so it was a
You knew it was
really good
good.
feeling. I was falling onto the mat, and I could just see it there sitting there.
And then you went over in the video,
Yes.
saw Chad, saw Jack,
Yeah,
and
and I gave my coach a hug. I gave my teammate a hug.
did you go on again or?
Okay. And then after that, I had already jumped. So we started at 13.6. So I jumped 13.6, 13.9, 14, 14.3, and I had taken a couple jumps on each height. So I was kind of tired. I was pretty tired.
And it isn't just a 5-minute process as I
No.
saw last night. It can take 30, 40 minutes with so
Yeah,
many people,
so
even
you kind
longer.
of get worn out, and so once it got to 14.6, I feel like I can clear 14.6. It's just I was so tired, And I
Is that the
think
goal tomorrow?
the goal tomorrow is 15. It's 14.9.
14.9. Okay.
So I'm hoping to increase the school record a little bit.
Maybe 16 feet
Oh, that's more of an end of season goal. That's my end of season goal.
for sure. What is, I guess, if you had to pick the best part of the sport, I know you had kind of mentioned how it's a good pole vault community, the
Yeah.
people around. Besides, is it jumping in the air like that? Is it getting ready to start? What is the best part of it?
I think one of the best feelings is when you're falling down onto the pit and you haven't hit the pit, just that moment of free falling. And
You feel like you're an
you
astronaut.
you just see the bar that you clear. It's a great feeling. And another great feeling is just being on the runway and you got your pole. All eyes are on you, so you gotta make it look good.
I saw
And,
Chase last night. I was
yeah.
like, is he practicing? And then it was like 3, 2, 1 a jet, and he just
Yeah.
launched off. And it's like I couldn't tell, like, oh, you start to pull up like that, like a fishing pole.
And that moment of like when you're running down the runway, getting ready to plant your pole and jump, that it's like everything goes quiet, so it's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What advice would you kind of have, I guess, for yourself if you're going back to 8th grade, going into freshman year? Would you, you've also done high jump, if I'm correct?
I jump, long jump. Yeah.
What's your second favorite, or sprinting?
I really like I want to do the 100. I like the 100 just to see what I can do in that.
It was painful last night on that track.
Yeah.
So what if you were going back, and sorry, I kind of
No,
sidestepped there. If you're going back to 8th grade, what would you do differently? Perhaps
I would-
if there was anything. I mean, it seems like there's not a lot, but if there was something, what would it probably be? And then what advice would you have for somebody in middle school trying track?
If I could go back to middle school knowing I wanted a pole vault, I would join, like I would get a head start, a big head start, because starting pole vault early is that helps so much.
Like hockey in Canada.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'd talk to my parents and ask if I can join the club because I'm in a pole vault club. I'd ask if I can join that a lot earlier than I did, and that would be a great advantage. But I didn't know about the club by then, so. And then some advice I'd give someone: start early. Like that's the biggest thing you can do is start early on that.
Interesting. Seems like that's a big advice thing
Yes.
around. So start early. And then if you had to pick so far, a favorite memory of all time for track, besides even pole vaulting, what would it be, you know?
I think I have two. Like just a memory of track or just memory of pole vault?
It could be like, oh, the day I had the best hot dog after I ran a good 100, something like, or it could be the time where I had all my friends there, you know?
I guess I have my best memory from pole vault is probably when I was at Greenfield and it was our sectionals, and I remember I think I was out, like I didn't clear the next height, so I was out, but Jack was still up, and he cleared a height, and like we were both just super excited, and that was great, and like me, him, and our coach Chad were all like jumping around because it was like super exciting, and a great memory of just track all around. Last year we had a dual meet, I think it was. So two other teams were there. It was at home actually, so it was at our track. It was super late, like pole vault, like I hadn't even jumped, and I think it was like 9:30, and we were still waiting like for people to finish up. Yeah, and the 4x4 I went and ran the 4x4. That's the last running event. And so I ran the 4x4. I think our team won the 4x4 in that, so that was great. And then right after, I went straight to pole vault, and I pole vaulted. I think it was like 13 feet, and like all the team was watching, and it was great.
Interesting.
Supportive, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the Jacob Buehrer Show today. Just a little closer. If you could go to any track in the world, which one would it be? There's a lot of good ones.
Right, Oregon. That's a great track.
Awesome. Well, I hope that happens for you.
I hope so too.
Lots other, well, not lots of other, but a couple of new pal kids have as well. So
Yeah.
it's good. It's a good luck charm.
It is.
Well, I appreciate you coming on Jacob Buehrer Show today. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
Oh. Really. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. Good to have you on.
Yeah.